I want to talk to you about wearing tefillin. And before I tell you about how to wear the tefillin and how to do the wrapping and the whole strap stuff, I want to tell you a little bit about what you need to know before you put on your tefillin. The first thing you need to ask yourself before you put on your tefillin is, am I a talit wearing Jew? Now, there are different answers to this question, and those different answers depend on determining your age and your gender. And let me tell you, in my sort of Judaism, you're a talit wearing Jew if you're a tefillin wearing Jew. So, before you put on your tefillin, you still got to ask yourself, wait, am I a tefillin wearing Jew? Now, again, there are different answers to this question, and those different answers depend on, again, determining your age and gender. But again, in my sort of Judaism, let me tell you something. You're a tefillin wearing Jew if you understand the importance of wearing tefillin. So, what's so important about wearing tefillin? Now, some people wear tefillin because they live lives of mitzvot, holy commandments, and sacred connections that guide us through life. And some people wear tefillin because they keep the traditions of their ancestors who also wore tefillin. You know, they went to minyan every day. The minyan, the place where everyone gathers to pray together, and they got the things there. So they daven together, they pray together. Let me tell you, the reason I wear tefillin is because of law and because of tradition. And the way I see it, tefillin is a way for me to wear Judaism's best values on my sleeve, or, just slightly next to it. Anyway, the tefillin contain very important words from the Torah about the importance of loving God and God's universe with all of our soul and all of our might and all of our power. And it also contains words about wearing tefillin and all sorts of very important mitzvot. Again, those sacred connections and those important commandments that we have from the Torah. And loving God and all that's created in God's image, which, by the way, we're talking about humans here. We're talking about people. Loving God is one of the most powerful life tips that Judaism offers us. And it's not just a tip, it's a mitzvah again, right? So in my book, tefillin are very important. So I wear them. It's a daily practice. And if I've convinced you, or something else has convinced you, or someone else has convinced you, or you've convinced yourself that tefillin is important, that wearing tefillin is important, you can follow along for the rest of this video. And I want to tell you that before you put on your tefillin, you still got to ask yourself one more question. Here's the third question you got to ask yourself, which is, am I wearing a talit? If the answer is yes, then sure, go on ahead, and you can wear your tefillin. But if the answer is no, then stop. Now, some Ashkenazic Jews do not wear what's called a talit gadol, which you've probably seen these things. They're huge, they're beautiful, they got the fringes. They're a beautiful thing to have. And you have certainly seen a talit gadol if you've been in shul before on any morning of basically the year. So some Ashkenazic Jews do not wear what's called a talit gadol, which means a talit for adults, by the way, until they are married. And you sometimes see Ashkenazic Jews who wear tefillin without a visible talit, and you might even see Ashkenazic Jewish adults, even Ashkenazic Jewish adult males, who wear no talit if they are not married when they're in synagogue on a morning. But believe it or not, right now, I am not wearing a talit gadol, but I am wearing what's called the talit katan, and you can see this little fringe hanging out here. So that little fringe, basically I'm wearing a t-shirt underneath, and that t-shirt has 4 corners, and on the 4 corners there are tzitzit. Again, those little fringes hanging off from the sides. And some people tuck them in and hide them, and some people take them out because it does say in the passage of the Shema during the times when we pray, it does say uritem otam, that you should see that special sign of the tzitzit when we wear those tzitzit. That's in the third paragraph of the Shema. You'll look it up later. Anyway, you'll find that there are these talitot katan. We've got these minor talitot that people wear. And a talit katan, again, a talit for minors is called a talit for minors because it's basically worn by kids once they're around potty trained, basically, starting at a really young age, right? And it's worn basically all day long. It goes underneath your shirt, probably. And it's got those tzitzit hanging out. Anyway, if you see an adult Ashkenazic Jew wearing tefillin and no visible talit, there's a good chance that they're wearing a talit katan. If you happen to know that they're not wearing a talit katan, it's very likely that this person, especially if they're an adult Ashkenazic Jewish male and they're wearing tefillin, but they're wearing no talit katan or talit gadol, it's very likely that they come from a family that never gave up going to minyan, but they adopted the way that they dressed so that they would look more fashionable in accordance with North American or European sensibilities of how to look good. And I don't watch a lot of fashion shows or any, but I've never heard of a fashion show where someone's wearing talit katan or talit gadol or tefillin, actually. So take that for what it's worth. Anyway, make sure you've got your tefillin on after you've got your talit on. And if you need a refresher on how to wear a talit, you can watch the instructional video that I made on how to wear a talit, or you can watch any instructional video on how to wear a talit. I'm just here to tell you a little bit of preliminary information before you put on your tefillin. And you can click on the video that I've created on how to wear tefillin to get to the stages of all the wrapping and this thing and this thing and all the different things. You'll see soon. And I hope that you get to enjoy the mitzvah of wearing tefillin as much as I do, which is a lot.